once again to Reasonable Discussions with Russell Moth-Eaton. I am your host, the aforementioned Russell Moth-Eaton, and I'm very excited to have a reasonable discussion with my next guest. He is a true American hero. Neil Armstrong was the first man to walk on the moon, and we are pleased to have him with us today on the telephone. Mr. Armstrong, how good it is to speak with you, sir.
Well, thank you, Mr. Moth-Eaton. I was thrilled when your people contacted me. I'm a little nervous, though. I've never been on the radio before.
You've never been on the radio before? Well, I find that hard to believe, sir.
Oh, no, it's true. Oh, I listen to the radio a lot, but this is my first time actually being on it.
The Apollo 11 mission was the first space flight that landed men on the moon on July 20th, 1969. That had to be quite an event.
Yes, I suppose it was.
6 hours after the landing, the world watched as the first men stepped foot on the moon. That must have been quite an exciting event for you.
Oh, no more for me than for anyone else, I suppose.
Why, that's quite humble of you, sir. I admire the fact that you recognize all of the time, effort, and research that the numerous scientists, engineers, and others devoted to the project that made the moon landing happen. You are being very modest, sir.
No, not really.
Oh, did you experience any fear or apprehension that the spacecraft would not be able to return to Earth?
Oh, I don't recall being concerned at all.
Your confidence in those who designed and built the spacecraft was quite high then.
Sure, I guess so.
Well, along those lines, what can you tell us about what it took to get the Saturn V off of the surface of the moon and back into lunar orbit?
Oh, not much, I'm afraid.
Pardon me for saying this, sir, but you seem a little ill-informed on the whole mission. Is there nothing you can tell us about it?
Well, only what I've read and what I saw on a TV special that was on about a year ago.
What do you mean?
Well, I was only about 5 years old when that moon landing thing happened, so I don't really remember much. But I've read some things about it, and like I said, I saw a TV special on it once.
So I take it you're not the Neil Armstrong.
I don't understand.
Well, you're not the Neil Armstrong, the first man to walk on the moon.
Oh, my, no. Oh, I've heard about him. You know, on that TV special. I guess he has the same name as me.
Well, someone is going to have to answer for this.
Oh, do you want me to tell you what I saw on that TV special?
Oh, who cares what you saw? Just hang up. I've got to find out who's responsible for this. Let's go to a break.
We're off the air.
What is the meaning of this? Who arranged for this nincompoop to be on my show?
I'm still here, Mr. Moth-Eaton. I haven't hung up yet.
Well, do hang up. Someone find out who on my staff is responsible for this outrage and have them fired. Why do I put myself through this torture every day? How can I have a reasonable discussion with a guest who is a total nobody?
I'm still here, Mr. Moth-Eaton.
Well, clear the line so my next guest can get on.
We're back on the air in 5 seconds, Mr. Moth-Eaton. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Reasonable Discussion with Russell Moth-Eaton. I am your host, the aforementioned Mr. Moth-Eaton, and we are connected to our next guest. He is the former Prime Minister of England, a position he held for 10 years. Mr. Tony Blair, welcome to the show.
Oh, no, that's not Mr. Blair. It's Mr. Blairt.
Blairt? You're not Tony Blair?
No, my name is Tony Blairt. Although I understand there was a guy named Tony Blair who was a big shot over in the old country. You know, France or someplace like that. I think he was a king or something. So, what do you want to talk about?